Welcome to Louisiana Heartbeats. I'm City Landry, your host for today. And today I have with me Neil Bertrand, who has released his latest book, Dad's War Photos. Now, Neil is a known name already by being the publisher of several cookbooks, but today he wants to focus in on why publishing this book was so important to him. Welcome to the show, Neil.
Hi, Sudie. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're having this good time together again, and I would like to start off by saying, why is this book so important to you? Why did you publish this book?
I wanted to honor my father's memory. When a week before he passed away, he said he wanted me to take care of his Japanese war rifle that he found in the Philippines.
Okay.
And I said, well, how about if I put it on a plaque or something like that? Oh, yeah, that would be great. Well, then I decided, well, I'll go a step further. I'll take his pictures that he took during World War II in the South Pacific, and I'll publish them in a book. And so it was a long project. It took 3 years, but the book is done.
Well, I have a question.
What's that?
Were you interested in this kind of topic before you decided to do this?
Oh, I was a World War II fan. I loved watching World War II movies. So yeah, I'm a big action adventure movie watcher.
So did you have to do a lot of research, though, to be sure that you got all these facts together?
The
What did you do?
The research is what took a lot of time because I was not familiar with a lot of the equipment, tanks and personnel carriers and military terminology. I did not know what these things were, so I had to research on the internet as best I could. And for example, the airplanes.
Okay.
I knew by looking at a plane, yeah, that looks like it might be from World War II. But I didn't know a B-24 bomber from any other plane. Whereas, I found out later, some experts could just look at a plane and instantly tell you, yes, that's a B-24 or a P-38 or whatever. So that alone took 2 months of researching the airplanes to find out what was their purpose, how fast did they go. And so I'll put all of that in a section in the appendix for the warplanes. I even have a part where it talks about the specs, the specifications of each plane and how fast they went and the speed and the altitude and all that. So any war buff, airplane buff, would love to see what I have here.
So about how many pictures do you have that have been caught and filmed by your dad in this book?
In this book, I have 420 photos of things that he took and scanned images of artifacts that he brought back. Japanese stamps, Japanese matchbox, on and on and on. So 420 images, plus I have 21 maps that I had created, professionally created, and these maps will allow you to follow along to see where he went actually I have, with these photos and with the portions of the battalion's diary that I have included,
Okay, wow.
I was able to trace his steps from his doorstep at home to boot camp, to war, and back home.
How long did it take you to put these pictures in order of how it happened? Or are they in order?
No, they are all in order by month.
By month.
That took
Wow.
quite a while. I had to, on the back of the photos, he usually had the country he was in and the year.
Okay,
Well,
wow.
that was a start, okay? And then, once I got the battalion's diary, which is a story in itself, I was able to create a timeline and organize everything by country and month and year.
That sounds like an encyclopedia to me.
This is an educational project. Anybody who wants to get an education on the South Pacific, they can get this book and educate themselves like I had a major education over the past 3 years.
Yes, and I can understand that. But what's great is that kind of thumb through the book is that it's under each picture, and then you have an article about it on the side or something to add to it. Battalion's Diary, it has timeline. You have all these wonderful images caught in film for eternity, and you have maps. So was that your original plan when you, how did you decide how to put this book together?
My original intention being that I had nothing except raw pictures,
Okay,
and even the pictures, a lot of the pictures did not have anything on the back of the picture to let me know what it was or what was going on. And so it was a process of time that I was able to put the thing together. Originally, since I had just photos, I was going to just put 600 photos in 5 separate ebooks, 5 different volumes of ebooks. Then one day, I'll tell you what happened. I was on the phone with a local World War II veteran,
okay.
and he said, you know what, you need to call and talk to so-and-so in Indiana. He can help you out. So I called this man, and I was talking to him, having a conversation. He says, you know what, are you aware that you can get your father's battalion's military record, which is the journal, or what we would know as a diary?
Wow.
So I said, no, I had no clue. So he says, yeah, he gave me the phone number, called them, and the battalion's diary, the whole 3-year time in the South Pacific, was on 2 CDs. So I bought the 2 CDs, read the whole thing, and used the dramatic portions to go in the book. Because just plain photos doesn't do a whole lot. But when you have dialogue that says, we have Japanese planes dive bombing these battleships, and some Japanese bombers came over the campsite and dropped bombs and started a fire, and it blew up 2,500 barrels of aviation fuel. That adds drama to the pictures and to the whole thing. So you get an idea of, wow, my dad experienced all this, and he never told me.
So what are some of the stories he did tell you?
He never did sit down and say, Neil, have a seat. I want to tell you about my time in the South Pacific.
I didn't think so, but
But every time I looked at the pictures with him, of course, I grew up with these pictures. They were in a cedar chest in the hallway of our home that I grew up in. So I would take out the pictures, and I would say, well, okay, well, what is this? What's going on here? And he'd say, oh, well, they're doing such and such, okay? And I remembered practically everything he told me from the time that I was a young child. These things just stuck in my memory. One of the things he said was one night he and his tent mate, there was 2 men per tent. This was in New Guinea. He said, we were sleeping, and then a large piece of metal comes and crashes through our tent and hits the ground in between us there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was a dogfight going on up above, the U.S. planes shooting at the enemy, Japanese enemy, and part of a plane came off and came through their tent.
I would remember that.
That's how
too.
God protected
That's right.
my dad and his friend.
You brought up something very important. On the back of most of the pictures, he has details of what that picture's about. And I encourage people who have pictures that want to pass them on to the generations to write down the date and who's in that picture, because really, that's a story in itself. And how many times you hear people finding pictures that have nothing on the back, and people want to know, well, I wonder whose relative this is. That is so important, and look at that. You had all these pictures, and now it can be turned into a book. So anybody that has a wonderful story they want to capture could think about possibly putting it in book form and locating a good publisher, which we are, connected to the Writers Guild of Acadiana, and you just yourself have a publishing company, so you've got a lot of insight. So if anybody would be interested in doing something like this, perhaps they might want to check out your email that's up there and find out what it takes to
I'll be
maybe put
glad
it.
to help anybody produce their book.
Okay, and it's all about how to and where to start. Just start, right?
Mhm.
Okay, Neil, what do you think your father would say today if he saw you had actually finally did this? Did he
He would-
know you were thinking about it?
No, he died 14 years ago
Okay.
in the year 2000. But he would be absolutely beside himself with joy to see what I've done with his pictures. So yes, he would be extremely happy.
You know, Neil, I mentioned your book to another friend that's here at AOC that is going around and documenting the stories of people who were in World War II. And I told her I'd like to put you and her together. And she's actually filming while she can, while they are alive, their stories. And that told her about your book. And so she was really encouraged to take it from there, maybe combining something later on and getting your approval or your opinion or even your guidance on
Sure.
that. Okay.
That'd be great.
Do you have any other areas of this book that you, okay, my question is, okay, you've done this book, which is totally different than your other books. Are you planning on doing a part 2, part 3, or have you thought about it?
Toying with the idea of doing volume 2, publishing the pictures that I did not put in this volume.
Okay,
So I'm thinking about that, but before I can do that, I want to produce a hardcover copy of the book, and I want to do a digital book, an ebook.
that's right.
And this ebook that I have started working on and I'm almost done will have links to videos of actual World War II footage. So if you're on the way to the Lingayen Gulf in the Philippines, well, right there will be a link to of actual World War II footage of the ships going into that area.
Wow.
So be very educational.
In the process, from start to finish, before we get into actually talking about some of these artifacts that you have displayed on the table, did you find out anything you did not know or something interesting other than you slightly mentioned earlier about your father that you would want to share?
There were some aha moments where there were mysteries to me, okay? And during the course of this whole research and developing the book, it was like, oh, that's what that is. So, it was such a fun, exciting, exhilarating time of researching and saying, wow, I can't believe Daddy was there and he saw all this and he didn't think it was important to share with me.
Somebody had to do it, and that somebody was you.
So,
Well, I have another question I want to ask. Do you think that there are places around our area that could benefit from having your book displayed at their place? For example, where would you like to see your book used? With all the information, documented pictures, educational, what areas might be places of interest? Schools?
schools, definitely high schools and definitely colleges,
College.
universities, all of the libraries should have at least one copy. I was at our library yesterday and I showed the book, and these two guys were flipping out over this book. How, wow, look at this, look! And so that is encouraging to me. Like the word that I'm hearing more than hardly any word nowadays is when I show my book to somebody, they'll look at it, turn the page, and say, "Wow," and they'll keep going and say, "Wow, look at this." So that's important.
So you're
to
getting
me.
a lot of encouragement
I'm
by,
getting a lot of encouragement, got a lot of good feedback, and a lot of good feedback from women, which is surprising to me.
yes, because I normally would not be interested in something, but a picture tells a story. And we're nosy. We want to hear the rest of the story.
3 years ago, right before I started doing the actual research, I told some friends of mine at a gift shop where I sold my cookbooks, I'm thinking about starting or doing a book on my dad's war photos. And one of the ladies said, "Oh my goodness, nobody's gonna read that." So that was a real big discouragement right off the bat. So, but I plowed through it and overcame her critical remarks, and
I would have said the same thing until I saw the pictures. Then I thought I might read more about it,
So,
you know?
I gave birth to a book.
Congratulations, Dad's War Photos, actually in publications.
That's right.
Okay, our special director is going to come out now, and you're going to start. I would like you to share some of these artifacts.
I would like to share before that is that the actual publication date
Okay,
is June 1st, 2015. So you will not be able to buy this book at any of the online locations.
but for more information.
Except, yeah, from my website.
Okay, so if anyone's interested for more information, they can check out your website.
Right.
Okay, and we can also add that to the end of the show also. So now, would you like to share the
Sure.
stories? Okay,
Okay, well, one of the places my dad was, he was in New Guinea, and he came back with a armband made by New Guinea natives, and this was made out of some kind of vegetation, and it was, I guess, weaved together with very fine
looks
very-
like some kind of braiding or
Yeah.
something. There you go.
If you want to zoom in
Little
on that,
focus.
if you can.
Little clear, needs to be clear. There you go, yay.
So that's an armband. Of course, I put it on mine, but it would only go up to here. And then here is a good conduct medal that he earned from the,
Lower it. And what's that for?
it's called a good conduct medal. So he earned that. And then on the way back from the Philippines, this is what's called trench art. This is a little plane that he made, and if you can tell, it's made out of a bullet casing.
Your dad made that.
My dad or his friend, but he
Okay.
brought it back, and it's made out of a bullet casing. They made a little wing here,
There you go.
and wings in the back, and on the front was a little plastic wheel for a propeller. And if you can believe it, I played with this as a toy when I was a kid, and
It survived.
it survived my punishing
All right.
antics with a little toy. This is his actual canteen that he had on his belt. This is part of his gear, and you would hook on the belt there. And you know, I didn't realize this at the time. It didn't really hit me at the time, but when we would go working at the farm, we would fill this up with water and we'd have something to drink.
So you were drinking out of something really, really valuable and you didn't even know it.
This here, he brought back from the Philippines
Go back it up.
he brought a Japanese rifle, and here is the bayonet that goes with that rifle.
I'm so glad it's not sharp.
Well, it's pointed,
Well,
that's one thing. So anyway, we have this, and I'll be doing presentations and from this point on in military museums, libraries, supermarkets, and I wanted to show you, this is the camera. Let me see if I can open this up. This is the camera that he used.
Close up.
I'm not going to open it up all the way, but this will give you an idea.
Back it up sideways.
And this camera here has endured a lot of punishment. He had this with him in his training school, which was in Geiger Field, Washington, next to Spokane, in the wintertime. So it endured sub-freezing temperatures all the way up to the extreme heat, 135-degree temperatures on the island of Biak,
What?
just off the coast of New Guinea. So this little camera endured a lot of extremes, and I wanted to show you this is the leather pouch. He had this made, and on this pouch, well, the camera went in the pouch, but you can't tell, but he drew a map of the South Pacific here, and so anyway, that's it as far as
That's the last of the artifacts.
artifacts that I have to show.
Okay, well, since you kind of mentioned you're going to be out there speaking on this, would you share with us again where you're going to have that presentation? June is the book release, but we don't want to talk about anything other than what you're going to speak about. Where?
Well, on February 14th, I will be at the Opelousas Genealogy meeting at the Opelousas Public Library, and this meeting starts at 10 a.m., and I will be bringing some of these artifacts to show the crowd, and I will be having a book signing there.
Okay.
And then in April, I will be having a meeting at the Lafayette Genealogy Society. They wanted me to come and give a presentation there.
So if anyone's interested in participating or going to these events, they can still find that at your website?
On my website.
Okay.
It's all on my
Well,
website.
we now have 2 minutes left in the show, and we're going to ask, is there anything that you want to say that we did not say before I close out the show?
Well, there are, if you do attend one of my presentations, and by the way, I will be doing some presentations around the South Louisiana, libraries, supermarkets that sell my books, and military museums. I have spoken to the World War II Museum in New Orleans. They have expressed an interest
Wow.
in my book,
Awesome.
and I would love to go there and do a presentation.
So you're definitely interested in being invited to any location that might want to hear the story?
Very much so.
Okay, well, that sounds great. Well, I can tell you one thing, that it's really nice. Now, I'm going to do something you weren't expecting. By now you should know that. But I do want to congratulate you on being elected the new vice president of the Writers Guild of Acadiana.
Well, thank you, Judy.
It took some pulling of teeth and
Yeah.
forcing you to come,
Yeah.
but I'm excited that you're going to bring to the table whatever you can that will be valuable. At the Writers Guild of Acadiana is where people meet, as you know, and try to learn different things and be with like-minded people. So you're going to bring a lot of new stuff and opinions, I know,
I'm glad
and
to
direction,
share.
and thank you.
I'm glad to share with the membership what I can about how to publish a book.
That's right, and so we're excited about having you take that position on, and we'll see where it goes from there. But today, we have been discussing the latest release of your publications, which is very personal, very important, Dad's War Photos. So now I'm going to end out the show and say thank you for watching Louisiana Heartbeats, and I'm Sudie Landry, and today my guest was Neil Bertrand, and you're looking at his newest release, Dad's War Photos. Tune in every Tuesday night. It just might be you or Neil that we're showcasing. Until then, if you see something you like, check out our websites, and check out the website that Neil has to tell you more about his story. You have been watching Louisiana Heartbeats. Tune in next Tuesday. We'll see you then.